to get started with a slip knot, just like so. And we are going to attach our yarn to our handles, and we are going to do it this way. So we're going to make sure that our yarn is on top of our handle. I am going to put my hook under the handle and pull up a loop, just like so. And I am going to yarn over and pull up both loops. And from this, I am going to go ahead and chain 25. I have finished my 25 chains, and I'm going to turn my work. And we are going to place stitch markers on our back bump of our chain. So the back bump are these little bumps right here. And we are going to be working in these back bumps. So I'm going to place a stitch marker on my very first back bump, and I'm going to count 6 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to place another stitch marker on my 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to place another stitch marker on my 6 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to place one more. And we should have 6 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to mark my last stitch also. Just like so. I'm going to turn my chain around one more time. And making sure that my chain is facing the right way up and it's not twisted, it's nice and flat. I'm going to grab my other handle. I'm going to insert my hook one more time, and we are going to attach our yarn to our handle, making sure that our yarn is on top of our handle. I'm going to grab my hook from under and grab the yarn, pull up a loop. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through both loops. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to turn my work. I am going to remove my stitch marker, and in our very first stitch I am going to place a slip stitch. So the back bumps are going to be a little bit tight. We have a big hook, so, and I'm going to put a first slip stitch, and I'm going to mark my first stitch, and I am going to slip stitch all the way to my first stitch marker. So I'm going to insert into my back bump, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through. I'm going to repeat this all the way across. And in my stitch marker, we are going to do a single crochet. I'm going to remove my stitch marker, insert my hook, going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull both loops. And I'm going to mark my stitch one more time. Make sure it's not damaging the yarn. And we are going to do our first herringbone single crochet stitch, and we have our loop on our hook, and we have 2 bars at the very front here, and we are going to insert our hook in our very first bump, vertical bar, should I say. So I'm going to insert my hook this way, and I'm going to insert my hook into the next back bump. I'm going to pull up a loop. Now we have 3 loops on our hook, and this loop here, I'm gonna make it nice and tall. I don't want to have it too tight. And I'm gonna yarn over, and I'm gonna pull up all 3 loops, and we are going to repeat. So I'm going to insert my hook into my vertical bar, insert my hook into the next bump, pull up a loop, making sure it's nice and tall, yarn over, pull up all 3 loops. And I'm going to repeat this all the way to the next stitch marker. So I am going to go ahead and remove our stitch marker. And then the stitch marker, this is where we are going to be doing our increase for this side. So I'm going to insert my hook in my vertical bar and into the next bump. And then this bump, we are going to put 3 herringbone single crochet. So this is 1. That's our second one. And we have a third. And out of the 3 single crochets that we've made, I'm going to place my stitch marker in the second stitch to mark our next increase on that next round. So I'm going to find my vertical bar and insert my hook, and I'm going to repeat a herringbone single crochet all the way to our next stitch marker. Here we are. So I'm going to insert into our marked stitch to our last herringbone single crochet. I'm going to move my stitch marker to my new stitch. And we are going to finish with 6 slip stitch to our very first stitch. Remove my stitch marker, and we are going to attach our yarn to our handle, making sure that our work is not twisted, so it's nice and flat. And we are going to do it exactly the same way as previously by making sure our yarn is on top of our handle, grabbing from under, pulling a loop, yarning over and pulling through both loops. We're going to chain 1. And we are going to turn our work. Now we are going to be working on our wrong side. So to get started, we will be doing exactly the same as before. We're just going to do 6 slip stitch to the stitch marker. And now that we have arrived at our stitch marker, we are going to do a reverse single crochet. So we have to make sure that our yarn is facing us and the front. And before I do that, I'm going to show you that we are going to insert our hook back to front to make a reverse stitch, and we're going to insert it, and you see the V here, we are going to insert it in both loops of the V, and we also are going to grab this loop right here. So we are going to grab 3 loops in total. So making sure that our yarn is facing us, and I'm going to insert my hook back to front through both loops. I'm going to grab the other loop. I'm going to place my yarn, and I am going to pull my yarn over and twist my hook around just like so. Now yarn over and pull through both loops. I'm going to mark my very first stitch. And we are going to do the same and doing a herringbone single crochet, a reverse herringbone single crochet, and follow through. So we are going to make sure our yarn is facing us, facing this way. I'm going to insert our hook through both loops and the third loop under. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and we are going to yarn over and pull through all our loops. And we're going to repeat this all the way to our stitch marker. And you will, this is a little difficult to begin with, but you will get the hang of it. Now that we have arrived at a stitch marker, I'm going to remove it. And we're going to place 3 reverse herringbone single crochet into this stitch. And we are going to do the same. We're inserting into our vertical bar, and we're going to insert into our 2 and our making sure we grab our 3rd, just like so. Pull up a loop, making sure that the first one is nice and tall. Pull through all 3 loops, and we're going to repeat in the very same stitch. And we'll do one more. There we are. Now that we have done 3 stitches, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to place my marker in the middle one for our next increase for the next round. And we are going to repeat this once again all the way to our next stitch marker. I'm going to remove my stitch marker and place my last herringbone, reversed herringbone single crochet. I'm going to mark my last reverse herringbone, and just like so, and I am going to finish to my next stitch marker. I'm going to put 6 slip stitch to my last stitch marker. I've reached my last stitch marker, and I'm going to place my last slip stitch just like so, and I want to make sure we're going to attach our yarn to our handle, making sure that our work is nice and flat and not twisted around. So we have our yarn on top of our handle. We're going to reach under, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull up both loops. We are going to chain 1, and we are going to turn our work just like so. So we are going to be repeating these 2 rows. We are going to be doing herringbone single crochet on our right side of our work, and we will be doing reversed herringbone single crochet on our wrong side. And for these rows, we are going to be doing 6 slip stitch on both sides, and we are going to be doing a herringbone stitch all the way across to a stitch marker, and in our stitch marker we will be increasing by 2 stitches. So we will be putting 3 stitches into our stitch marker, and we will be repeating this until we have a total of 18 stitches on both sides, on either sides of our stitch marker. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have our increased stitch marker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when we reach 18 stitches on both sides of our stitch marker, I will be meeting you back here for our next stage. Now that I have finished with my increases, I am going to be continuing with my 2-row repeat. I can remove my stitch marker as we won't be increasing for a total of 12 rows. Once done with our 12 rows, we will start with our decrease. I am going to start with my decrease. I place a stitch marker on my 25th stitch and stop 1 stitch before my marker. I'm going to do a herringbone single crochet 3 together. Insert my hook into my vertical bar, insert my hook into my next stitch and pull up a loop. I'll remove my stitch marker, insert my hook into my marked stitch, pull up a loop, and I will insert my hook into my 3rd stitch, yarn over, and I'm going to pull through all my loops. I'm going to mark my decreased stitch, and I am going to carry on with my row of herringbone single crochet all the way across. I have reversed herringbone single crochet to 1 stitch before my marker, and I am going to decrease 3 stitches together. Going to remove my stitch marker, insert my hook in my vertical bar and into my next stitch, and pull up a loop. Going to repeat and insert into my next stitch, pull up another loop, and into my 3rd stitch, pull up my last loop, yarn over and pull through all loops. Going to replace my stitch marker, and I am going to carry on to herringbone, reverse herringbone single crochet to the end. And I am going to continue this 2-row repeat until I have a total of 25 stitches between my 2 handles.